Hello, everyone on Circles of Inspiration. I want to say hello and welcome to you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have an amazing guest today. My dear friend and member of the Wellness Universe and spiritual leadership expert, Kathy Jerin, is here with me today. I don't know if you've seen, but I've been sharing about this conversation for about over a week now, and I've been so excited to bring this to you. Kathy, in case you don't know, we're here at Circles of Inspiration, my Facebook page, and I have some of the most amazing fans and folks that follow the page who really seek transformation, self-development. They just want to better their life. They want their own best life experience. So because of all of my wonderful folks that are on Circles of Inspiration with me and engage with me daily, I know that they're just going to love you. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Anna. I am absolutely delighted to be here. And I just love the work that you do and your understanding about the seekers out there and what they're actually seeking. And you being that pivot of matching those who are wanting to help others in their journey. So I'm delighted to be here.
Oh my goodness. This is a dream come true. So, folks, I just want to let you know Kathy is all the way in Australia. Kathy and I have worked together on panels. She's been a speaker for us, an expert for us for a few years now in the wellness universe. She's also been a #1 best-selling author. And actually, we hit #1 internationally in Australia for our happiness book. So you've been part of our happiness book and you've been part of our Achieve Anything book as a bestseller, as a best-selling author. And you shared some really interesting stories with us that are very personal to you. And I just want to get into the meat right now of our conversation. You came here today to talk to us about how to rise after a challenge. So first, I want my folks to get to know you a little bit, Kathy. Can you share with me a little bit about your journey and about your life?
Yeah, thank you. I do what I do today because it's been, I'd say, a natural unfoldment of my life journey itself. I teach meditation classes and personal development, but I have a real passion for the mind-body connection, which I'm just fascinated about us as human beings and our remarkable architecture and just the how we are formated and formed and the richness of experience that we can have, but also the vulnerabilities that we can be exposed to, and how our life's journey can, be a bit like that ship on the high seas of the ocean. So I guess for me, I've had some significant moments, defining moments in my life that have definitely been maybe, forks in the road, so to speak. And I guess I've made certain subconscious decisions or intuitive decisions along the way that has kept me on a track to where I am today. And I would attribute that really to my early years of just, from childhood and just being naturally spiritual, just being naturally young and innocent and, talking to angels and God and already having that sort of relationship as something quite special.
So you've always been connected, so to speak. And I remember, especially one of your stories, you were talking to the horse, right? In one of your
Oh,
stories.
yeah, that was amazing. Well, talking to the horse, that story was quite defining for me. Like it really expanded my mind and my awareness. It was like a real connection to how interrelated this world is. It was right on the point of when my mum had passed away, and it was the morning after, and a friend had invited me over to her place just to come over, and she was just going to cook dinner and just hold space for me at that time. And so she was in the kitchen and it was evening, and I just decided to wander out. She lived on this beautiful property and she has horses. And I wandered out just aimlessly. And then I felt this big presence behind me. Like I saw she has this black stallion, like, and he's normally locked up in his, in his box. But for this particular day, he was out, and he was slowly making his way towards me. So I just kept, I was in my grief space for sure, just thinking about what the meaning, the loss of my mum. Actually, it was a point where I was in no man's land. I couldn't comprehend the reality of that just yet. And I was in this space of not even really being able to picture what my life could look like without my mum in it, because she was just such a big presence in my life. So that was the space I was in at that time. And then walking through, I felt this horse behind me, and normally I would run for the hills, but I didn't. And I stood at the gate, and he stood directly behind me. And then the most amazing thing happened. His beautiful big nose just touched the side of my arm so gently, and just ever so gently just started to rub right down and on my shoulder. I can still feel it. I can still feel it. And I'm standing there going, I'm not scared, this is amazing. I'm taking it in. I go, I can't believe this is happening. What's happening? But I'm just standing here and I'm accepting it. And it was magical. And then the other horses from the paddock gathered over, and then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by these amazing beasts and heart energy. If anyone knows horses or works with horses, they have a very powerful heart energy that is quite healing. And I got to experience that deep connection, and it was amazing. And it definitely, I felt like maybe touched by grace, or touched by the giftedness of that, when we do probably not get caught up in the overthinking, that we can block ourselves from opening ourselves truly, heart, mind, body, and soul, to the gifts that are actually already there, wanting to be gifted to us, and to find that space of openness in vulnerability, to be receptive to that.
I
Mm.
love that story, Kathy. When I read the story, and I was like, wow, she's really connected. I felt, and even with you telling the story just now, I felt the energy. I felt your presence and your healedness, if that's a word, because you're so healed that animals aren't fearful of you, because we all know that when we have fear of animals, or we have a fear, they can they feel our energy.
Feel it too,
You're
yes.
so healed. They knew you were grieving. The one stallion came over to you, and just in you describing this, I'm literally getting goosebumps, and I feel the warmth of the horse around
Mm.
me as well as you're saying this.
Love
And
it.
I just wanted to share that story with the Circles of Inspiration community, because it is just so profound. And like you said, I would have ran for the hills if it was, if
Yeah.
it was a horse approaching me. I mean, horses are if you haven't been in front of a horse, dear folks, a horse, a real horse, is a massive creature. A stallion is a massive creature. It's not the pony ride at the fair. A stallion is a huge beast, and they could be very scary when you're, especially without barriers, and they're just walking up to you. So
Mm.
it's just remarkable thinking about that. Um, Thank you for sharing that story, and I want to know a little bit more about you had mentioned your evolution. You've
Mm.
always spoken to the angels, and this has been a process through your life. Can you share with me any pivotal moment um, that really had you fully embodied in the awareness of how important and how grateful you were to be connected to your spiritual practice and your spiritual grounding and evolution to where you were to get you through something? Um, because I want to demonstrate to, myself included, sometimes we lose hope, and sometimes we have challenges that we feel that we cannot even climb out of the hole, like we can't even get our grip on the sides of the walls to climb out of the hole for. And I know in my heart of hearts that that's when I have to go digging deep into my reserves and, you know, where have I been and what have I gone through and have gotten through to get here, to really give me the confidence that I can make it through again. So, do you have any pivotal moment in your life that you can share that has happened to you, where your spiritual foundation of granite helped support you through?
Oh, many times, many times, unfortunately. And that's why I'm so well exercised at it, because I have drawn on it. And that's probably an important point, is that that it's through adversity that, that digging deep. It's like sometimes there's nothing around you, and it can be like that I've got to claw my way out of this. But what plants that thought? Like, where does that come from? Like, there's this energy in us for survival, to conquer, to overcome. And sometimes it's not there. Sometimes it's, we can feel like, what's the point? It can be, you can get to that point. So the question is, what is it that actually rises to the surface when we feel like there's no way out, or the challenge seems too big and scary, and you feel, inadequate or depleted or nothing to draw on? And spiritual practice actually gets you to that. It's that deep beneath. It's not the thinking, it's not cognitive, it's not physical, it's heart, it's pure heart, and it's deeper than heart. It comes from something other. I'll bring it back to being little and already having this natural, connection or affiliation or relationship, or whatever you want to call it. But there was a stage in life when, my little circle started expanding, and that safety net started exposing me to more outer influence. And so that's when I started coming across different opinions and different responses to my free way of thinking and free way of being, and just spontaneous and talking about love and that kind of general expression. And then I started probably around my teens, and especially more so in my early 20s, was that socializing factor, when I was challenged, about my beliefs, or laughed at even. People actually weren't. I started to realize that not everyone was feeling what I was feeling. Not everyone was having this kind of relationship. And that really sparked, interest. It's like, oh, am I different? Is this something, it started questioning. I really started questioning me and my experience in relation to others and their experience and that feedback. And there was a point when I shut down. I closed off. I stopped expressing myself in that free state. I became guarded, and I'm very cautious about how much I would divulge or reveal about my true self of expression. But I never stopped.
Kathy, I want to interrupt you for a minute, because I'm sure that so many people can relate to your story. And just hearing your story, like, the hairs on my back stand up, and the emotional torment that you can go through, especially in your developmental years, it's torture. It's torture because you don't know how to show up. You don't know if you should make a choice on how to show up because of what you're being told, how you feel you're allowed to, because of all this. And I'm sure that so many people can still feel that, and still need to heal through that, because if you have experienced that and you haven't healed that, it's another stage and it does affect you later in life because it doesn't just get swept under the rug. So I just want to bring awareness that whoever is listening right now, that you're not alone. Even this beautiful goddess, Kathy, that's in front of you right now, with her beautiful energy that you see around her and her light and her love, has gone through these types of challenges. I also have struggled with that. It took me a long time to evolve through that. But I just want to say that I think it's really important to point out that we're not alone. And I think many of us have experienced this. So thank you for sharing that. And please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just had to bring awareness to how many people I think can relate.
Yeah. And it does feel like you're alone. You know, it's like, where is the place I turn to? Where's not your tribe, but who else feels what I feel? Or am I alone in this? So it's definitely the ground for me to, I think that was that ground, of my understanding. So I continued for a number of years disguising that aspect of self, and still functioning, but I never let it go. It was always active. So I still had that awareness and that experience. I just wasn't sharing it with others. And my intuition as well was definitely forming through that. I think it became more exercised, I suppose, later on when I did get married and started to have a family and certain influences. Challenges I've had to overcome using my spiritual strength was opposition. I married someone of a different faith. So our challenges from senior family members was really challenging. There was a non-acceptance. I was almost a shame for them in regards to, not being of a certain faith. And we were happy, we were fine with that, we still got married and had the family and lived our life. But there was definitely some, when you're gathering around a family table and fingers are pointed in your direction, and notably so about not being this or not being that, that was one of the hardest things for me to sit amongst, to live amongst, to endure, because that was the point where I really recognized how quickly people are willing to put a label and box you into a corner. And that's all they see. They just see the box and the label. They don't see past that and see the person for who you are, or the person who I was. And I think that was my deepest hurt. I was injured in that, because this is my love, my husband, and family. This was my, my everything. And to feel this kind of rejection was harsh. And it was not easy. It was the most difficult thing I've actually ever faced. But I kept showing up. I kept exposing myself, being vulnerable to these, this harsh criticism, and damaged in that, bruised definitely in that. But then it's like you said, this thing inside of us that just keeps walking you through that. And that's when I really gained clarity. I was really critiquing what was important to me. Where do I stand? It was finally the ground. I'm grateful for it now. It's been a blessing for me now. At the time, I could not say that. It was quite destructive. But that was the ground for me to get totally clear, to stake a claim in my life, so to speak, to stake a claim in my heart, body, mind, and soul, that who I want to be, how I want to show up in the world, how I want to raise my family, how I want to live and give and express unconditional love and inclusivity and these types of values. became extremely important to me. So even though as damaging and hard as that experience was, it was the it was the work that really allowed me to finally claim my inner light and that little girl's freedom, you know, of that relationship that was already there. I think sometimes we are imprinted with life songs or life stories of a sense. And so I've never let go of that earlier little girl's um, pureness. She had to develop, she had to grow, of course, she had to learn her inner strength for sure, but it's still there. It's still there to this day. So it's like these beautiful connections, that there's certain things in your life, in our each of our lives, that we have, that's the essence of who we are, and to remember that, you know, we've been born with this. It's quite remarkable. So that's our spiritual lives. We've come to this earth with this, with our beautiful essence that is meant to be lived out and is gifted to, that you have a unique gift and presence that this world needs.
Absolutely, Kathy. And I love how you just stated that. And, you know, this is what I try to share in Circles of Inspiration all the time is just like believe in yourself, you know, set your boundaries, stick to your values, have confidence, you know, and then miracles will happen in your life. And what just spoke to me so much in your story just now was the fact that you used your challenge and what you saw happening around you to actually sculpt and decide for you how you wanted to become who you are now, raise your family, and project outward to the world an inclusive human being filled with love, filled with spirituality, for your family and for your children to reflect that too, even though you weren't feeling that around you when you got around your extended family. But it showed you who you didn't want to be. And for you to take and claim ownership to who you wanted to be and create that life for yourself. Because this is the thing, Kathy, a lot of us go through life and it's okay for us. And once we kind of hit like these milestones of being an adult and then we have a career and then we get kind of stagnant or we get comfortable and then we just get up the next morning and then do, get up the next morning and then do. And then we say like, I want this for myself, or I want that for myself, or I wish I had this, or I wish I had that. Oh, 5 years goes by, be like, oh, what? I wish I changed it back then, but you still keep going along the same path and you don't make a change. I'm so inspired by you because you made that decision for yourself, for your family, and now you're leading the way for others to also make these changes in their life through self mastery, through their spiritual awareness. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about what you're doing for folks in the world right now as a wellness for all expert and the way that you're going to help people to evolve into who they want to be so they're living the life they really truly want in the way that you do it, Kathy. You lead, you teach, you guide, you support with so much love, so much heart, so much open space. Whoever's live with me now, I just want to know, just drop in the comments, do you like feel how beautiful Kathy's energy is and how inviting this conversation is? And if you're invited into this conversation, you feel like we're speaking directly to you, I want you really to listen up to what Kathy is actually doing as a service to the world. So tell us a little bit about this course that you're going to be teaching and how you're going to be helping everyone, Kathy.
I'm really looking forward to this. I'm very excited about the subjects that we'll be touching on and exploring. In a nutshell, um, it's about finding the meaning in your life. So it's like shaking off the meaningless and turning more and more to the things that are meaningful. So it will be like a process of, well, I can let that go. I can brush that off. That's meaningless, really, to me, through contemplation, through connecting with nature. The nature is fully charged, and we can charge ourselves energetically, but physically, by connecting with nature. So looking at how nature is a revelation. Other aspects, looking at the different types of intuition, the true mystery and beauty of the human heart. It's more than just an organ that pumps blood around the body. It is an intelligent being in and of itself. So looking at a little bit of research around the heart and how you can start to recognize heart space and head space, but really to understand that they are married. There is a beautiful marriage between the two. It's not one or the other. It's not one is better than the other. They are actually also always wanting to be unified. So it's a unifying experience. This sequence, these 12 sequences, is really ways and different means for you to experience that unifiedness of soul and self.
And I love the title Self Mastery through Spiritual Development, not self development. It's a whole nother level because I feel self development is, believe me, I love self development. I teach self development. It's one of my favorite things. But self mastery, I feel like almost like this is really about you. It's about you and your core. It's your core when you are being the master of who your heart, your soul, how you perceive the world, how you reflect out to the world. It gets to your core. And that's why I feel what you're bringing to the Wellness for All program, self-mastery through spiritual development, is just, it's so beautiful. So I want to say thank you. And everyone, if you are interested, you can enroll, guess what, for free. And Kathy is leading this on a donation basis, and she's also doing coaching through this. She's also having a group where you all meet up, and she supports the community. But everything launches on April 7th. So please see the link in the video in the description of the Facebook Live and get yourself registered. Now, Kathy, we have about a minute left. We took the whole half hour. This is great.
So fast.
It's so fast. Well, because you're so interesting, and we really could go on and on and on, because honestly, you are just such a beautiful soul, and you have so much to teach us. But what, if you can give us one final thought or something to inspire us and walk away with, what would that be?
Um, oh, I think sometimes, you are more than enough. You really are. You are more than enough. And sometimes it's like just slowing down is it's the most constructive thing you can do for yourself. When you slow down, you feel, and when you feel, you heal, and when you heal, well, that's when you can, just be, your beautiful, organic, natural self that you are always meant to be.
I love that, Kathy. And what a profound message. I was having a conversation with another leader yesterday, another woman leader, and sometimes you have to get together and hear it from another leader to give yourself permission. And here it is, the message again. I was giving this message to someone else yesterday. You're giving this message now to the entire Circles of Inspiration community. So I think there's something to be said for this message being carried out through the ethers right now. And if anyone who's listening, this is speaking to you, really embrace it. Take that time for yourself and give yourself permission to just be and heal. Kathy, thank you so much for being on Circles of Inspiration, delivering your message today, delivering your inspiration today. Everyone, you can connect with Kathy. Her link is also in the comments of, not the comments, the description of the video. And I can't wait to start your course with you. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for being here for us and being here for the world and helping us to heal through everything.
Thank you, Anna, from the bottom of my heart. Mwah.
Mwah, I love you. Thank you so much. Everyone, please share this video, comment, and if you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments, and we'll see you again soon.